My name's Paul, welcome to Paul Perambulates. In this episode, I'm in North Wales, in Southern Snowdonia, on the Arans round. My start point is Kum Kar, postcode SY20 9AF, grid reference SH852518883, what 3 words, bronzer, deferring, lives. It's a 2-day walk and wild camp. On day 1, I climb Kum Kar up to Glasgwm, then take the steep drop before the long climb northeast to the top of Aran Fawddwy. I camp overnight there, and then on day 2, I go out and back northward along the ridge to Aran Benllyn, and then turn eastwards via Drws Bach to Dres Skull. From there, I take the long, gentle descent down the southern side of Kum Kar. Total distance 20.3 kilometres. Total height gain 1,180 metres. Total walking time 7 hours and 7 minutes. Follow the road right up the valley and you come to the car park, which is absolutely free. It's a weekday in term time, so very, very quiet, despite the absolutely beautiful weather. It does have an honesty box for the Welsh Air Ambulance charity, well worth supporting. You could hear in that clip the sound of this rather beautiful bubbling stream just opposite the car park. At the far end of the car park, surprisingly, a toilet. Okay, it's a chemical one, but beggars can't be choosers. You don't really expect to find one at all. It's in a decent state too. Clearly looked after by somebody and respected by the users. It's even got toilet roll. If only it were always like this. The valley, Cwm Cywarch, is pretty spectacular from the car park. Looking now at the side of Glasgwm, which is going to be our first objective. From a quick look at the map, that looks like our way up. So that's going to be quite a climb. Okay, let's rock. That's the initial climb. It's a hot day in the summer. I'm carrying a full night's kit, so that is going to be hard work. Every time you think it's too hard though, the trick is turn round, take a good look at the view. Not bad. I've topped out Cwm Kar now. The view is getting steadily better all the time. From here, I can now follow that fence up to the top of Glasgwm. I've come away from that fence now and I'm heading straight up towards the top of Glasgwm. There's no path covering this route on the map, but as I suspected, because a lot of people probably come this way, there is a worn path in real life. Not hugely obvious, but it's there. So that makes life a little bit more tolerable. A little bit further up, either I've lost the path or it's petered out. Ground's a bit of a pain now. I can imagine it gets very boggy here in the winter. Even in the summer it's a little bit tussocky. So in the absence of the path, if in doubt, just keep going upward. I'm approaching the cairn on top of Glasgwm, and as I come towards it, just coming into view, one of those Snowdonia curiosities. lake stuck to the top of a hill. This is Llyn y Ffin. Apologies if that pronunciation has mangled it. Quite a surprise if you're not expecting it. Resisting the temptation for a swim after that huge long climb, but certainly going to splash my face in it. Oh, it's lovely and cool. Oh, nice. To the sound of lapping water, great spot for a coffee. This is the cairn marking the top of Glasgwm, first peak of this walk. Behind me, Snowdonia. Handrailing this long fence up towards Aran Fawddwy, I've come across something that I read about online when researching this route. It's a little bit marshy up here. I'm sinking in a little bit as I walk. The planks are there to help you get past these areas. Obviously I'm not using them because I don't need them, because it's the middle of summer at the moment. It's still a bit marshy, but it's perfectly passable. I think in the winter or early spring the planks would be invaluable. Unfortunately, they've been there a while. It's starting to rot away a bit. So I don't know how much longer you can rely on them. I'm about 300 metres below the summit of Aran Fawddwy now, and I've found some running water. I don't really rate my chances of finding any running any higher than this in the middle of summer. Now, water is very heavy. I didn't really want to bring loads of it up here, so I need to collect it while I'm here. This, I think, probably be my last chance before I get to the top, and I really don't want to have to come back down looking for it when I get there. So this is the one I'm going to use. When we're picking up water on the hill, the best, clearest stuff that we'll get is the fastest running water. So this is absolutely perfect. Even then, we don't completely trust it, and we'll put some sterilisation tablets in it. I'll fill up every receptacle I've got with me, just to make sure I've got enough. I don't have to come back down looking for more. Here's the platypus. That actually doesn't look too bad. Sometimes it's green. Climbing my way up the last bit before the top of Aran Fawddwy now. Very slow going now. Okay, I'm a water billionaire, so that means that my pack is a few kilos heavier. Also, it's towards the end of an extremely long and tiring day, so I'm starting to struggle. But on the bright side, not very far to go to the top, and then when I get there, I can get my pack off, get my camp set up, and have a look around. Well, if there was ever a sight to spur you on, there it is. You can see the top. It's been a long day, but I made it. Trig Point at the top of Aran Fawddwy, 905 metres. I'm standing on the Trig Point as I shoot this, looking north over Snowdonia as the sun goes down. And it is, quite frankly, spectacular. Looking south from the Trig Point, the slightly more rolling hills of mid Wales. as the shadows lengthen. About 20 metres below the summit, there's a stone shelter. You could easily bivvy in there. Unfortunately, it's not quite big enough or flat enough for my tent to go up in it. In terms of a camping spot, the weather forecast says it's going to be fairly benign tonight, so we can afford to be right up the top here. So this little bit here, nice and flat, no rocks sticking up, not far below the summit. I think that will do me for tonight. The area around the top of Aran Fawddwy flattens out a little and undulates a bit as you get near the top. And what that means is you're spoiled for choice for wild camping sites. There are plenty of flat bits. And then, depending on the weather, you might even be able to get close to the top like I am. Tents up and tees on, we're in good shape. A classic summer evening on the mountain problem is mozzies, which is why I always carry some insect repellent spray in my little box of tricks. Now, I've given myself a good spray, hopefully I don't get bitten. (10:30 p.m) and it is incredibly still, very unusual for this sort of altitude. About to turn in for the night, so I thought I'd just have one last look at Snowdonia. This is my bedtime view just before I close the tent up. Wonder what it'll look like in the morning. Turning in for the night now, after what's been quite a tough day. Don't imagine I'm going to have any problems sleeping tonight, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Pre-dawn shot. The moon's up and the sun is not far over the horizon. Sun's slowly rising in the east now. Going to come up above those clouds before too long. In the valleys away to the east, we've got some low-lying cloud cover, so they're waking up to a very foggy morning. Up here we're above all that, looking down on it. Last night I wondered what the view out of my tent door would look like in the morning, and here's the answer. It will look like Snowdonia, but with added sheep. Sun's well and truly up now. Campsite's looking good. About 1.5 k away along the ridge to the east is Aran Benllyn. So I think my pre-breakfast exercise today is going to be a little stroll along there to bag that one. Don't need to take the pack, can leave the camp set up, so be a nice easy one. Super steep descent from Aran Fawddwy this side, requiring some careful foot placement, very rocky. Don't really want to come a cropper here. Going to be a bit of a climb later on. In Snowdonia, like in a lot of hilly places, there are lots of these stiles to get over the fences. The ones in Snowdonia have a very useful feature. They come with these little blue placards telling you your grid reference. So if you don't know where you are, that's pretty useful. Once you're down off the top of Aran Fawddwy, it's quite a nice easy walk along the ridge, handrailing this fence. So the navigation is pretty simple. There's a good path, so not too much of a problem. On the way up to Aran Benllyn, this has caught my eye. A cairn. Not at the top, not far off the top. It's on a little outcrop. It's not on the map. It's very interesting. Looking back, we can see Aran Fawddwy, where it falls away steeply, the opposite side to where I came up. In the floor of the valley below, Craiglin Dyfi, surrounded by all these beautiful rolling hills. I've deviated away from the fence now, still heading towards the top of Aran Benllyn, but up here on the ridge it's very scenic. Got another cairn here. The walking is nice and easy, short grass, evenish ground. So I would recommend come along this way rather than follow the fence. Joined back up with the fence now. We can see the steep side of Aran Benllyn. And suddenly into view the top of Aran Benllyn, which is basically a cairn with a post sticking out of it. The great thing, of course, about arriving at the top is that suddenly you can see everything on the other side. A little bit further along the ridge, another one of those interesting mountaintop lakes. Both Aran summits in one shot here. Aran Benllyn right in front of me. Aran Fawddwy away in the distance. I can still see the Trig Point on the top. Here I am on the summit of Aran Benllyn with a great view of Snowdonia. You might get bored of me saying it, but I'll never get bored of seeing it. The views of Snowdonia are absolutely excellent. I think I've earned my breakfast now, so back to Aran Fawddwy and base camp we go. Going back along to Aran Fawddwy, I'll keep it simple and handrail the fence because I'm hungry basically, and that's where my breakfast is. Getting back to camp at the top of Aran Fawddwy is going to involve climbing this. So I haven't actually earned my breakfast yet. Back at the top of Aran Fawddwy, And back at camp. The muesli's in and soaking. Got a billy full of water on the boil for today's flask of coffee. Breakfast is served. Muesli, hot coffee. What I'm wondering now is how quickly I can pack up my tent. Yeah, fairly pleased with that. Not bad at all. The most important thing, of course, is to leave no trace. That's where the tent was. That's where I did all my food preparation. No litter, no rocks moved. Nobody would know I'd even been here. One of the features of this route is all the fences, which basically act as handrails. Makes navigation really simple, especially in this sort of visibility. So I've just come down off the top of Aran Fawddwy here. I'm looking across to Drws Bach and I can see exactly where I need to go. This cairn on Drws Bach is in memory of SAC Michael Aspan of the RAF Mountain Search and Rescue Team. He died pretty much on this spot, hit by a lightning strike back in 1960, while out presumably helping somebody, searching for somebody. It is in an amazing spot. Just a few steps forward and we can see the whole valley. Kum Kar. Fitting place for a memorial. I would imagine that Michael Aspan would never, of his own choice, come up here in a thunderstorm. But he didn't have a choice when he came up. Somebody else had decided to do that, and being a search and rescue volunteer, he had to come and help them. And he paid for it with his life. There are things that all of us can do to keep not only ourselves safe, but the search and rescue guys as well. Get the right kit, get some knowledge, make good decisions, pick the right time, the right conditions. Because it's not just you that's at risk. It's a bit airy both sides going over Drws Bach. We've got a 250 metre drop one side, and then the other side 400 metre drop, just through that gap there. However, you got a nice wide top to walk along here, so you're never in any danger. I'm standing on top of Dres Skull, not a particularly important peak, there's nothing here to mark it. The best thing about it is the view it gives us of the Arans ridge. So we can see Aran Fawddwy to my right, to my left, Aran Benllyn. Absolutely amazing view of the places we've been this morning. That chopper is heading right over the top of Aran Fawddwy. I wonder if they're using it as a navigational marker. Yep, sure enough, turns 30 degrees northwards, right over the top of it. Dropping down into Kum Kar now, and I can see this long shallow path that gently takes us down along the side of the hill. Looks good. There's a little bit of air at one point along this path, coming past one of these fords. but the path is nice and wide. You're not in any danger. I've seen this path described as a balcony. I think that's probably pushing it a little bit. It's not wide enough for that. It is also quite a long way down to my right, albeit not sheer. You really do need to take a little bit of care with your feet. However, it's not dangerous. Basically just stay alert and you'll be absolutely fine. Got the choice of a bridge or a ford to get back over to the car park. I think I'll clean my boots off. And to the sound of that bubbling brook, here we are, back at the car park. So that was the Arans round. You saw how tired I was at the end of day one, heading up to the top of Aran Fawddwy. And in terms of difficulty, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I found it extremely hard. The original plan was to go along to Aran Benllyn on that evening. But by the time I got to my campsite at the top of Aran Fawddwy, that clearly wasn't going to happen. These peaks in Southern Snowdonia can easily be underestimated. They may not be as high at the top as the ones further north, but you start lower down. In the car park here, I'm at 140 metres. Top of Aran Fawddwy, 905 metres. Well over 750 metres of height gain to get there. If you look at Snowdon, if you're going from Llanberis Pass, you already start at about 400, 450, so it's about 600. If you're going up the Carneddau or the Glidderau from Llyn, similar height gain. So these peaks, they may not be the tallest, but they're the biggest climbs. What a brilliant walk though. The real big problem with those busy peaks, especially Snowdon, is that they are just absolutely rammed with people. I have seen one other human being during these 2 days of this walk, which was a fell runner who passed me this afternoon. I'm willing to bet, as I speak to you now, that the summit queue on Snowdon is probably well past half an hour, probably more like 45 minutes. And I don't know why anybody would enjoy that. I've been out on my own for 2 days now and I've loved every minute of it. So if you're strong enough and if you've got the right kit and the right knowledge, choose the right day, choose the right conditions, it's a brilliant walk. Give it a shot. All maps and 3D fly-throughs provided by kind permission of Ordnance Survey through their excellent OS Online application. Big thanks also for all music used in this video to mixkit.co and upbeat.io. These videos are designed to show you around the routes I walk in case you're considering doing them yourself. They are not designed to be any kind of hill walking training or guidance. If you need hill walking skills, obtain them in person from a reputable, qualified provider. Please don't attempt these walks without appropriate levels of fitness and equipment. If you don't have the required levels of knowledge and experience, only undertake them accompanied by somebody who does. You can find out more about me and my background and experience at my website paulperambulates.co.uk. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Paul Perambulates. If you did, please subscribe and share.